All right, joining the show on our, first real episode back after a couple month hiatus. We got friend of the program, one of the first guests we've ever had on, one of the most recurring guests, JR Specs. JR is going to be playing at UConn on April 7th, opening for Flip Dinero and Trippie Red. So this is, real exciting time for him. JR, what's going on, man?
Dude, not much. Just in here working on stuff. As you can see, the green screen set up. I just got done filming something before this, but yeah, appreciate you having me on. I'm glad we could bring you out of the hiatus to talk about this because I feel like as fans of the UConn ball team and fans of rap music, there's a lot going on for us to talk about right now. You know what I mean?
This has been a wild, wild run, and the game's tonight. We'll be both watching it. I'm pretty nervous, to be honest, but I've been nervous every game. That Arkansas game scared me. They go
Yeah.
out, beat them, and then the Gonzaga game was just. I've never seen anything like that before.
It was crazy. It was like the rim was like 8 feet wide. You
It,
know?
it's wild to see a team like this too, especially like the past UConn teams. You had, one guy was like the shining star. You had Kemba, Shabazz, the past two Natty teams. This year, they're like eight deep. You got Caravan, Calcaterra, Sonogo, Hawkins, Jackson. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's insane. What's the kid's name? The backup center? I always forget his last name.
Clinging.
Yeah, Klingon being in the rotation is sick too. That frees up Sonogo to be able to you know, rest up here and there more,
Yeah.
and he can play his best ball. That shit is just great to watch, and I'm super excited too because the if we're gonna go all the way,
Mhm.
the final game is I don't know, days before I'm doing the show on campus. So I'm hoping everybody will be extra psyched, if we're coming off of
Yeah.
a win. That's gonna be dope.
So you're making your return to UConn. That's where you graduated from. How is aside from opening for one of the biggest names in the rap industry right now? How is that gonna feel being able to perform on the stage in front of kids that you went to college with?
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. I definitely there's more to it even than that for me because when I was a freshman, uh, I didn't leave my room much when I was a freshman. I've probably talked about that on the podcast before because it relates to a lot of my music. But I was pretty shy when I started college, and I kind of realized at the end of my freshman year, I heard about the spring concert and that there were student openers.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh damn, that immediately when I found out that was a thing, that was my goal, was to be the student opener for the spring concert.
Mm-hmm.
So as a sophomore, I tried out for that little baby show that they had, and I just wasn't really ready, I think. And there were just better candidates. And then
Yeah.
when I was a junior, though, I think I had stepped it up a lot, and I was more of a shoe in maybe to play the show, but it was canceled for COVID. And the same thing happened when I was a senior; they didn't have UConnic again. So the reason it's so special to me, on top of the fact that it's just sick to open up for such a big rapper like Trippie Red, is that I thought the window of opportunity for this show in particular had kind of closed. I
Yeah.
thought if I was going to get to do this big of a show at UConn, I would have to be a lot bigger to be one of the names on the flyer. So it's sick to be able to do this while I'm still on the come up.
It's pretty awesome. And then being able to open for both Flipped and Arrow, Trippie Red, two, pretty big names. Obviously Trippie Red is in that probably upper A tier echelon of the rap game right now. What does that kind of mean to be able to open for him?
I mean, it's sick because I've kind of been my whole philosophy the last couple of years has just been I'm not sure if I'm really the guy that's going to go viral at any point. So I got to just keep doing stuff I think is dope and try to be next to people.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important to me to be put in the same conversation with people who are really talented. So to be able to join the stage with Flip Air and Trippie Red are two dudes that I think have a lot of really great music. More setting aside how big they are as artists. I like a lot of songs by both of those artists. So
Yep.
it's just sick to be on a graphic with them. It's dope. It's dope, and I'm psyched to see how the night unfolds too, because I know a lot of these artists at Trippie Red level probably have a lot of security, don't really interact with the other acts. But you already know, I'm crossing my fingers a little bit. It would be cool to meet
Of
them and stuff
course, you have
on
to.
the outside shot.
You got to be
Yeah,
optimistic for something like that. I mean,
yeah,
you have to be.
for sure.
Aside from the music part, getting ready for the show, do you have like your outfit picked out for this? What's the planning kind of been going into that? Especially, I mean, if UConn wins the Natty, you've got to kind of, I think, pay
Yeah.
homage in some way.
I haven't totally sorted the fit, but I bought a couple of UConn related things.
Okay.
Just to have. I'm figuring out which one I'm gonna wear, but I think I'm gonna wear something UConn. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna rep up. But yeah, I think the vast majority of the preparation is like for most shows, like me and my DJ Alex just like doing rehearsals, making sure like the flow of the set is good, and then even more so for this show than we've ever done, like making sure I know not to a T, but roughly what I'm going to say between the songs, because I
Okay.
think it's so important. Like, I just want to go out there and be able to engage the crowd that's there
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible, you know, and have people really fired up by the end of the set. And I think it's super important to, like, you know, if you have some momentum, not throw a song in there in the middle that's going to kill the vibe, or like if people are psyched, like what you say on the mic in between the song can fire them up even more, you know. So kind of just figuring out like I've never done a show this big. It's probably going to be. I mean, I'm the opener, so I'm towards the beginning. So it's not like all 4,000, 5,000 people are going to be there, but it'll be four digits, I think. So I'm like,
Definitely.
I don't know how that big of a crowd's going to react to this stuff. I never tried it out, but we have like a good prototype for what we think will work. I think so.
Yeah.
We've been doing
How much
drafts.
how much planning goes into that? Because I mean, I've been to a handful of shows, and you do see that where, in the audience, it kind of just seems like the artist will just say something. How much planning really goes into, like, all right, I finish with, my second song, I'm gonna say this to the audience before my third song. Maybe you want to mix something in, between my fifth and sixth song. How much really goes into doing that, where you're kind of talking to the audience?
So here's the thing, right? Like I've done a lot of shows. Like
Hmm.
I've done shows at UConn that were great, like awesome experiences where I didn't even have a set list picked out, and I just like the last couple shows I did, I was just up there with my iPad, and I would like do a song, talk to them, be like, "What do you guys want to hear?" And then like you guys trying to dance, and if they're like, "Yeah," I'll just play Red Solo
Yeah.
Funk or Baby Knock Me Down, you know what I mean, and pick them on the fly. For this, I mean, we're having like my homie Eric Lang that did all my videos from college fly in and get the whole thing on tape. So like we're like, all right, let's orchestrate this thing. Let's have like a game plan of how we want it to go. So for this one, like I know kind of what I'm going to say between every song, and we've run through it like 5 or 6 times, just so I have a template to work from. But yeah, I mean, it all depends on the opportunity because, like I'm saying, I mean, I've done plenty of shows where I like consciously was like, I'm going to go in and wing it. It's going to be fun,
Yep.
because that was the vibe. But for this, I wanted it to be more of like, holy shit, this dude's prepared, you
Hmm.
know?
What's your time on stage? Have they given you that yet? So you can pick
25 minutes is, I
25?
think,
It's pretty good.
yeah, roughly around that. I mean, honestly, that's a really good number to me because there's been times I've been offered like more than 30 minutes and we're like, can we just do 25? Because it's not like I don't want to rap, I
Mhm.
do, but I want the thing to be airtight and I don't want to give anybody an opportunity to get bored.
Right. No, that's
Um,
understandable.
yeah. I would love someday to be on a tour where I have like a 45-minute set that's like got hills and valleys and like a really good shape to it to keep it engaging. But at this stage, it's just easier for us to sketch up a really tight 25 minutes, I think, and then kind of get out of there. And that's going to leave the best impression.
Yeah, so I was gonna say with that, the 25 is probably better too, rather than a longer set because you're really building it up. You're opening for, a pretty hype artist too. You want to get the people going too. So that hills and valleys can work in other settings, but this one probably wouldn't be the best to pull that out.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting too because we did have like I had an unreleased joint in there that's more of like a singing type thing, and I was gonna try to like have people sing along to it because it's really easy to like remember the lyrics. Um, but we ultimately just decided like I kind of had to like swallow my pride a little bit and be like, all right, we're not gonna sing just for the sake of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do the shit that's gonna leave the strongest impression. So we took that joint out and put back in like "Welcome to My Zone" or something.
Okay.
Like we're gonna we get all the heavy hitters in there. You know?
And is there any way we can get a little sneak peek, maybe one or two of the songs you're gonna play this weekend?
I'll give you like a high level synopsis. It's like
Okay.
I'm doing a couple songs from the Grapevine EP.
Hmm.
I'm doing a few songs from 99 Daydream, I think.
Okay.
I'm doing a few Payday songs. I'm doing, I think, one song from Yellow.
Hmm.
And I'm doing an unreleased joint too, and I'm bringing up a special guest who I think I'm going to try to keep a surprise for now, but it's going to be sick.
That now that is an exciting tease. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Having that, the unreleased also with somebody else, I think, is a
Yep.
very interesting factor. I'm really intrigued about this. So,
Yeah.
that's exciting. So like I said, going back to UConn, is there been any buzz from kids that you went to school with, kind of reaching out like, oh my God, this is awesome. What's the feedback kind of been that, because like you said, you thought the window might have been closed on,
Mhm.
coming back and performing in this show, but now it's reopened. What has the feedback kind of been for you?
Yeah, I mean, people have been super psyched. I definitely, it means a lot to me that like there was one cat that this guy Jake that I had a class with when I was a freshman in college, which was like 5, 6 years ago now.
Mhm.
Was like, yo, like I sat next to this kid in my freshman seminar, and now he's opening for Trippie Red, like some comment like that, and it just feels great, man. And I think it's so important too to like that. It's taught me so much to see people kind of like be willing to hop on the bandwagon, so to speak.
Mhm.
Not because the music's fire, like that's part of it, but also just because of the way I've always just tried to like not act like I'm this big cool rap dude, you know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
so tempting to do that. If you like have music that you think is dope, it sometimes you might be tempted to like talk your shit or whatever. But I've
Mhm.
always tried to not do that and just be like see eye to eye with people and be like down to earth as much as I can.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like that's honestly gone a longer way than how the music sounds. Is that people are just like, yeah, that guy's not a dickhead. Like I'm glad he's winning.
Yeah.
You know?
That definitely helps, I'd say, is if Lisa, if you have one song come out and then you kind of, blow it up, have that, like you said, dickhead mentality, then it makes it
Yeah.
easy for people to root against you. If you stay true, kind of like how you've done it, then it's easy for people, like you said, to hop on the bandwagon and really support.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also like I'm not trying to big myself up either and be like, oh, I'm doing shit the right way. Like I learned that from like maybe saying too much at times. You know what I mean? Like I learned that from like, why did I tweet that? Or like why did I say that at the beginning of my set at this show, you know? And you just gotta like take your licks and learn to be a better like community member. And
Mhm.
that I think has gone such a long way in terms of like learning how to like work with people, how to do shows with people, and just be somebody that is like an open node in a network, you know?
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Nice. So last time I had you on, the Payday project was still going. I didn't have you on when it had kind of come to an end. What was the whole, I know you had said kind of just got a little burnt out with it, and just it just kind of came to an end in around,
Yeah.
what was it, August,
Yeah.
September?
Mhm.
What was the process with kind of, just finally putting an end to, putting out two songs each month?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say I was having a lot of fun with that shit through like May. And into the summer, I was like, all right, well, I still have some dope songs, but we're kind of getting to the bottom of the barrel here where like, I felt like, oh man, like I really want to finish out the whole year just to say that I did it. But I
Hmm.
was seeing like the numbers were going down a little, which
Hmm.
is not like I don't do this shit for the numbers, but it's a good indicator of like, are people in real life like getting burnt out from this shit? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I was too, where I was like, I love the challenge of, oh, now I need to start coming up with more songs on the fly and not so much
Mhm.
relying on the reserves. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to start work on an album.
Mhm.
Get back to like kind of that's my main thing and what I like to do the most is make longer bodies of work. And I was like, well, if I want to be doing something else, like nobody's holding a gun to my head, like I can be done with this, you know. It's not like every song is doing more and more streams. So I'm like beholden to this plan I came up with. So yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I was like, if you don't want to be doing it and it's not going to break you to stop, like
Mhm.
stop. And that's all it was. And then that I was instantly a lot more inspired once I gave that up, and was like, oh, I
Yeah.
can do whatever I want now. So
That
yeah, it
that
was a
had to
rush.
be a good feeling like a week after, having it come to an end. Probably a little disappointed maybe at the moment, like, I can't finish it this year. But then, like you said,
Mhm.
once you finish, you really just stop it and take a deep breath from it. You probably felt real good after that.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't even didn't even take a week, to be honest. I like announced, I was like, payday's done, and like 15 minutes later, I was like, this is so lit. I can fucking relax, dude. Because now, like, I'm still doing stuff. Like, I'm booking shows here and there for later in the year. Like, I got this show coming up this week. I'm dropping a song soon, which I haven't announced yet. So I don't know how much detail I'm gonna give right here, but me and my special guest, I guess I can say it because I think he posted about it. Me and Dre Waves, my homie from Washington D.C. I don't know if you're familiar. You should get hip. He's like one of the illest
Okay.
dudes out here right now. But he's coming out to play our unreleased joint at UCONNIC, and then after that, we're gonna drop it. I won't say when yet, but we're gonna
Okay.
drop it like following the show. So I am dropping some shit. I'm doing all these 30-minute cookups. I'm working on like album stuff behind the scenes. So I'm definitely staying active, and like I wouldn't be able to do any of that if I was still doing payday,
Yeah.
which I wouldn't be now because it's 2023, but still,
Mhm.
you know.
But it would have kind of halted. You'd be 4 or 5 months behind now on where you're
Yeah,
at now. Had the payday, had you still been going, still getting a little bit more burnt out in that process. So
yeah.
overall, probably it seems like it's working out. What is the progress on the album? Because myself and probably everybody else that listens to your music is looking forward to that.
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely past the halfway mark.
Okay.
I'm definitely past the halfway mark, but it's not anything I can rush either. Like
Yeah.
I want so badly to just like snap my fingers or like hole up for a week and come out and the thing's done, but it's just not happening that way for a multitude of reasons.
Hmm.
Um, I've started like the bar that I've set for my own music has become like toxically high, I think. Like I really like the stuff that I've done recently in the past.
Yeah.
And let's say I feel like some of the songs I put out last year are like 9 out of 10s. Now, like if I make an 8 out of 10 song, I'm like pissed,
Mhm.
and I just can't. So I'm just working through stuff like that as well. Like just trying to be as free as possible, just make stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the constant battle. Like I'm sure I'll fight that battle for the rest of my life because I want everything to be so good. Like it's so important to me that I like it. Um,
It makes it setting that bar high. I mean, makes sense. It definitely is something that you're going to be chasing too, though, which is, I get, it's always good though. I mean, that's always good.
yeah, yeah, no doubt. It's like it's good to hold yourself accountable
Hmm.
um, to make like good stuff, but I saw this Willem Dafoe clip like this morning, I think, where he was just like, sometimes when I'm on set, I just decide I'm gonna try to fail in this take. Like he's like, I'm gonna do a bad job with this take, because I think that like frees you up mentally to
Hmm.
flow state a lot easier, and you might actually end up doing something dope. Like the same way that in Better Call Saul, it's really weird how this like made such a profound impression on me. But when Jimmy like is filming all those commercials in Better Call Saul,
Yes.
uh, and he's directing them, and it's like people who don't really know how to act. So he's like, hey, this one like just crumple it up, throw it away. Like the take doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And he said that, and I was like, "Oh, that's such a good phrase." Like, I know it's just like a throwaway moment in like
Hmm.
a crime drama, but I was like, "That's such a great philosophy." Like, don't worry about how this is gonna sound. Like, just throw it away. That's how you're gonna get the best out of it sometimes.
It is something probably that got lost in the weeds too of that show with everything going on. It's a pretty solid message, especially the commercials he's filming too. It's they're very odd and very probably unethical too at the same time. But I
Yeah,
like that a lot. I do like that.
yeah,
So
no, that's just sick, dude.
during the payday time, what was your favorite song that you put out?
Oh, it's so tough because I think so many of those are like, I don't regret Payday at all because I think even though not all of them stream super well, I
Mhm.
think when I was like meeting people when I was new in New York, I was like, "Yo, what's up? I'm JR. We talk about music." I'd be like, "I drop a song twice a month," and they'd be like, "Whoa!" And I feel like it helped them remember who I was. They're like, "That's
Mhm.
the kid that dropped twice a month," you know. So I
Yeah.
don't regret it at all. But the flip side of that coin is like I let go of so many songs that I'm like obsessed with, dude. Like "Ball If I Want,"
Mhm.
one of my favorites. Can't believe that like I can't believe that like Heart Candies and Feeling American were not like they deserved more time. You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, dude, I'm so high on those songs still, and it's like, oh man, we just put them out and then started promoting something else 2 weeks later. It's like, uh, but it's good, man. You know, you live and you learn, and I put out a lot of music that I'm really proud of. But that probably Feeling American, my favorite.
Heart Candies was probably my favorite. It had probably my favorite bar of any of the songs you did put out with Video Killed the Radio Star, Father
Yeah,
Time Killed the Thing That We Had. I will think about that one probably, weekly, that bar, and it's just like I'm like it's good stuff. It's a funny verse, and also one that it's got a little bit of depth to it too. I like that one a lot.
dude, thank you. That was like the most exciting time of my life creatively, I think, when I made that song. I had like just discovered not writing things down. Like I would just hit record, come up with a bar and lay it.
Mhm.
And then, you know, like kind of like how Young Thug or somebody like that would with their engineer, but I didn't have an engineer. It's just me doing it kind of with one
Yeah.
hand. Um, and when I first tried that, like it freed me up so much to just come up with different ideas. Like that whole verse is like, I don't know. It's just hella. It's such like a tongue in cheek take on like a casual romantic situation. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And kind of being like, this is kind of bullshit. Like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love that song.
So outside of that, how has New York been treating you? You've been there for a while now. How has life in New York been?
Dude, I'm a lot more settled in now than I was.
Mhm.
I would say the like 2023 so far has been really good to me. Um, and I've kind of just got a good rhythm of like, not only am I used to living in New York, but like I've maybe for the first time in my life, I've kind of caught a rhythm of like uh sensing when I might be about to go into a rut a little bit and kind of nipping it in the bud. And I've like never had that. Like I feel like I've finally got enough experience with myself mentally to know like if I'm gonna hit a rough patch, like let's do a few self-care maneuvers and like healthy things to kind of like keep things at baseline, you know? Like I've had more good days this year already than I probably did in 2022. Uh
Great to hear.
or like more great days where I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
man, today's sick. You know what I mean? Like I've had a
Mhm.
lot of that this year so far, which is dope because it can't always be like that, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to hear. And then networking wise in New York, how big of an impact has that been, instead of being either in Connecticut or in Maine, where the opportunities they're there, but they're not definitely not as strong as, being in New York.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because like now it's like, oh, cats that I might have been cool with on Instagram are now like more my friends because they roll through for their show in New York and I'll go see them, whatever. Like as an example, I was trying to go to the Ben's Been Dead show last night. I just
Mhm.
left it too late. The show sold out because he was opening for Kay, who's
Mhm.
like he was able to pack that shit out. Um, but like that's an example. Like Ben and I are both from Maine,
Yeah.
but I might see Ben more living in New York than when I lived in Maine because like he'll roll through for a show and I'll be like, it's not that far. I'm gonna go say what's up. You know, like same thing with Malik, Dre Waves, who I was talking about. Like any of these cats, they're from all over the map, but they stop through in New York, so I say what's up to them then.
That's cool. That's definitely got to be a good feeling, especially to see a familiar face too.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's great to like. Yeah, I'm super thankful too that like I have I've gotten lucky enough to move here and have just like the solidest group of friends in and outside of music too. Like a few of my college homies that I don't do music with are here, and I'll link with them once in a while too. And it's just good to
Nice.
have that support system, you know. Like starting over, beginning my time in New York was not as tough as like moving to Connecticut was when I was 18. You
Mhm.
know, because I really knew like no one then, and this time it was like, all right, I got like 5 or 10 people, so it wasn't so hard.
That's good. Music wise, what are you looking forward to as the year goes on? Project wise from other guys.
Oh, from other people. I mean, I was about to say it'd be cool if we got a Frank Ocean record, but I just feel like that's never gonna happen.
Okay. Cross your
But
fingers and pray, I guess.
yeah, I mean, there were some. He kind of was sprinkling breadcrumbs like a little bit, but
Mhm.
what the hell does that mean? It's like he's the type of dude just like, here's some ideas I had, back to the studio. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
But I'd be psyched for that. Um, who else is dropping this year?
I saw ASAP Rocky is supposed to drop this year, which
Pretty sick.
I would be pumped about that because we haven't gotten an album from him in probably 4 years, maybe 3, 4, 5, even maybe 5 years.
Yeah,
So
testing 2018.
yeah, so I mean that's been 5 years, and I think he's put out 3 albums. I don't think, or if 3 or 4, I don't think any of them have been misses either. So when
Yeah.
hopefully him taking this much time isn't for nothing. I think Travis Scott is supposed to drop this year. Pusha T and DJ Drama are supposed to have a project out this
Really?
year. Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
was reading about that earlier, so that would be one I'm super excited for too. But the ASAP one is definitely probably top of my list.
Yeah. No, that would be sick. It would be dope to get an Anderson .Paak record again. I know that he did Silk Sonic not too long ago, so maybe he's still in kind of his creative recharge. But that would be fire. I'd love to see that. I feel like there's been like whispers of like Childish Gambino music, like because what's that show Swarm? I think he like did some music for that, but I
Yeah,
don't know that that means that there's a record coming. But that would be sick if there was.
that would be pretty awesome if we got something from him.
Yeah,
It is cool to see guys like him. We're actually, me and a couple of my buddies at school, we're talking about maybe like the most talented, people, just celebrities. And I said him or like Jamie Foxx would be up there because,
yeah.
both are good actors. I mean, Jamie Foxx has an Oscar. You've got Childish Gambino was in Community, which is a great show. Atlanta's a great show, and he's got great music. And then the other one I said was Justin Timberlake, another good actor
Oh,
and
yeah.
good musician. I didn't know if you had anybody else to like add to that list. Because it is tough to find an artist whose acting is on par or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know who I would add to that list because I mean, to me, like Childish Gambino and Jamie Foxx are like two of the only cats I know that's it's like they're just good at everything. You know what I mean? And it's literally
Yeah.
like I don't know, like there's got to be something these dudes are bad at. Like maybe they can't like assemble IKEA furniture or some shit like that. Like everything art related, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know who I would add to that list. It's such a rare breed. You know what I'm saying?
Childish Gambino's even good at like stand-up comedy. He had his own special on Netflix like
Oh, it's great.
7 years ago. So there are very minimal flaws in his game. I mean, maybe he can't cook or something like that. I don't know.
I bet he can cook. That's the thing. I would bet on it.
That would be like the most disappointing thing too if he's like a Michelin star chef, just an absolute baller in the kitchen would be the just even more layers that would hurt.
I'd be feeling inadequate at that point, dude. That's crazy.
But JR, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm looking forward to seeing some video from the show, and I'm sure you're fired up about it too.
Oh yeah, I think we actually might. I think we're planning to drop the entire set, like front to back, the whole thing on YouTube. So
Awesome.
it'll be because we know that only students are really able to go, so we're hoping like everyone else gets a chance to see it too.
Yeah. So if you haven't yet, April 7th at UConn, JR is opening for Flip De Niro and Trippie Red. I don't know if tickets are still available or not. I'd imagine those sold out pretty quick.
You might be able to get some if you're a student that hasn't purchased yet, but it would probably be nosebleeds and it's for students only. So
yeah. But good luck, man. I appreciate you coming back on, kind of jump starting the pod back again. So yeah, thank you for coming on, JR, and thank you for listening to this episode of the My Parents Office podcast.